talk about obstruction and interference for years. And I thought instead of rehashing the same old stuff, the first 5 minutes are going to be me reading. I'm going to be reading directly from the rule book because they've got it pretty concise. After that, I've got a bunch of videos, some that you may have seen before, others that you may not. During the course of the group, I'm going to ask you this, you remain quiet. Once we get into the video portion, raise your hand or whatever, and we'll try to keep it down to 2 people talking, me with the person who's got the question. And if you've got something else you want to add, raise your hand so we can see you and we'll address it. So we're going to talk about obstruction first. Okay. Obstruction is the act of a fielder, A, not in possession of the ball, or B, not at the act of fielding a batted ball, which impedes the progress of a batter, runner, or runner who is legally running the bases. Okay, there does not have to be contact. It is obstruction if a defensive player is blocking a base or a base path without the ball, and the runner or batter runner is impeded. In past years, coaches were taught their players to block a base, catch the ball, and make the tag. Now defensive players must catch the ball, block the base, and then make the tag. Whenever obstruction occurs, whether or not the play is being made on the runner, the umpire should declare obstruction and signal delay dead ball. When I say declare, that you're going to verbalize that. That's the part that most of us leave out. The ball remains alive. The obstructed runner is put out prior to reaching the base they would have reached had obstruction not occurred. A dead ball is called, and the obstructed runner and all other runners affected by the obstruction shall be awarded the base or bases they would have reached in the umpire's judgment had the obstruction not occurred. An obstructed runner may be called out between 2 bases. The runner was obstructed if the runner is properly appealed for missing a base or leaving a base on a fly ball when it's first touched. If the runner committed an act of interference after the obstruction or passed another runner, this was also overruled the obstruction. When an obstructed runner is awarded a base that they would have reached had the obstruction not occurred and the preceding runner is on that base, the obstructed runner shall be awarded that base, and the runner occupying is entitled to the next base without liability to be put out. When an obstructed runner safely obtains the base they would have been awarded in the umpire's judgment had the obstruction not occurred, there's a subsequent play on a different runner, the obstructed runner now is no longer protected between the 2 bases where they were obstructed. That runner may now be put out anywhere on the base paths. It should be also clear that the statement a runner cannot be called out between the 2 bases the runner was obstructed does not apply when the runner commits another violation. The violation is played upon. Example, a runner leaving second base too soon on a fly ball is returning after the ball is caught and is obstructed between second base and third base. The runner would not have made it back to second base prior to the throw arriving. The runner remains out. Should the obstructed runner be put out after passing the base they would have reached had the obstruction not occurred, the runner is advancing at their own risk, and if tagged, should be called out. The ball remains alive and other plays shall be made. When the runner is obstructed in a rundown, a delayed dead ball is declared and signaled. If the runner is tagged out after being obstructed, a dead ball would be called and the runner is awarded the base they would have made had the obstruction not occurred. Should the ball be overthrown after the obstruction, the runner may advance. The runner may not be called out between the 2 bases where they were obstructed. Catcher obstruction. The obstruction is a delayed dead ball call. Should the catcher obstruction be called when the batter hits the ball and the batter runner reaches first base safely and all of the runners advance at least 1 base, the obstruction is canceled. All action as a result of the batted ball stands. Should the batter not reach first base, or if one of the other runners does not advance at least 1 base, the manager of the offensive team has the option of taking the result of the play or taking the award. The award is placed the batter at first base, and the runners advance only if they are forced on the award to the batter. No, the batter must be given the opportunity to hit the ball. Should the batter delay their swing and clearly the attempt is no longer to hit the ball, but rather interfere with the catcher's throw on an attempted steal, interference should be called on the batter. There's a note there. That's rule supplement 8, if you want to check that out. In fast pitch and slow pitch with stealing allowed, should a catcher reach forward over the front of the plate in an attempt to catch the pitch ball, obstruction should be ruled. Okay. The mechanics are, so that we're all on the same page, when you have obstruction, your left arm is extended. You also verbalize obstruction. You hold that left arm up for a few seconds, long enough for people to see that, hey, that umpire out there has their left arm up for some reason. Something must have happened. Now they know that you've seen it. It's just a few seconds, and then you put the left arm down. Make up your mind at that point, the base that you think you're going to award the person, should it come into play. By come into play, I mean, if they make a play on the runner, but they don't put them out, and you're protecting them to second base as an example, now they get up and go beyond that, they can be put out. All right. If they are put out between first and second base where the obstruction occurs, at that point, we call it dead ball, award the obstructed runner the base we think they would have gotten had there not been obstruction, and all other runners also are given the base that they would have reached had you not called the obstruction. Any questions on the mechanic or the rule as I've read them? Okay, Matt, let's go ahead and start with some videos. And if you've got questions as we go through this, this might be a little rough at first. There's a couple videos that we're only going to play a few seconds of, or I may tell Matt, hey, advance 20 seconds or whatever, and we'll go from there. Okay?
Hi, everybody. Sorry I was late.
Hey, glad to see you.
All right. Let me see here if I got this right. Okay. Everybody see my screen? Should say steal, second, obstruction or not.
Yeah.
Folks, this one is directly from 2018. We get the plays and clarifications every month. This is from 2018. You may have seen this in a state clinic with obstruction interference. Okay, what do you think?
Can you play it back before we do that? Here it is
Here we
again.
go.
Yeah, it'll go on repeat.
Man, that was close as heck, though.
That's close as heck. Sure is.
Close as heck. Now, in that situation, even though he's like right on top of it, does he see if she has control of the ball or not? Could he possibly go help to his plate umpire and be like, yo, hey, where are we at? I mean,
No,
I was right there, but
Actually, I think he can best tell when the actual contact. I mean, if you, that play right there showed me that the defensive player got the ball.
right.
Possibly. Oh, can I back it up a little bit? Yeah, right here. Okay, no contact, now ball. And in my opinion, that's awful darn close.
She didn't impede the runner.
No,
Pardon me?
because the runner stayed their course.
Yeah.
I think that the runner has already started their slide. I don't see that as being impeded. But go ahead and play it through, because we get the answer from Kevin Ryan on this one.
Ooh.
Okay. Now let it go through, Matt.
Yep, it's going.
Tough call, right?
Did the
Did the
fielder hinder the
hinder
progress?
of the runner?
In that
No.
one view, it didn't look like she was in the base path. This view here.
Okay. The runner doesn't have to be in the base path.
No, I'm talking about the defensive player.
Well, all that also, now look at
mean, she's not
impeded by
blocking
the
the
fielder
base.
prior to gaining possession.
Possession. Runner's already sliding. She didn't impede the runner.
So my answer to you directly from Kevin Ryan is they aren't seeing it. They sent that out to all of our umpires saying that they thought that the person was not impeded. They're already starting the slide, to the base, the throw taking the runner, to them. And in this particular play, I thought the ball was in the glove prior to contact. So
I would
on
agree
this
with that.
one, on this one, we're going to say there was an obstruction and the out's going to stand. Matt, want to go to the next one?
Okay. Oh, is this the same one? Yeah, sorry.
Let's see if they get it right, though. Come on.
Here we go. So this one is obstruction at first base or not.
Okay.
Boom.
This is
All
where
day
we see,
obstruction.
this is where we see obstruction most of the time.
Yes.
folks.
That the answer is yes.
Pretty obvious, right? Don't miss this one. I'm gonna
16
bet-
sure, 16 sure didn't miss it. She's gonna be feeling that for a while.
I'm gonna bet you a lot of money. It looked like a 2-umpire system. And the base umpire is button hooking inside, and I don't see a left arm. No, it's a 3-umpire system. It's a 3-umpire system. I can't see the plate umpire, but let this run. Connection, base umpire at second base. No left arm extended. They didn't call it. That would have had to come from the plate umpire or the third base umpire. Crash. Third base umpire doesn't have it up. And at the tail end of this, you're going to see just the edge of the base umpire, and I don't see a left arm extended. But everybody agrees that's pretty simple. We got obstruction. Go ahead and go to the next one, Matt.
Okay. Obstruction or not at first base again. Bad throw.
Okay, if you can, yeah, repeat that a couple times if you can, Matt. You have to look real close on this. The first baseman never gets the ball. When I first saw it, I'm thinking, what's going on? The ball goes down to the right field corner. Okay, now, one thing I didn't say that I wanted to point out is the reason I love our obstruction rule better than anybody else's. Oh, go ahead. That's fine. The first base, the reason I say, I told you from the video that they didn't catch the ball. I like our obstruction rule. I think it's the best one that we've got in a bat and ball game. If the defensive player on a thrown ball makes contact with the offensive player prior to possession, it is obstruction. So on this ball that ends up down the right field line, obviously there was contact with the first baseman prior to the ball being caught. So this also should be an easy call. Where this gets hard is if the runner gets there before the ball gets there and drill the first baseman. Now we're talking about the second part of our session tonight. So everybody on the same page with that? First baseman didn't have possession. We're going to call obstruction. Next.
Okay. This is a play at the plate.
Okay, do you have anything there? Anybody? What we got? We're talking about the second runner crossing the plate. The first one crossing the plate is pretty obvious. They're fine. We're talking about, we're looking at the second one where the catcher now goes from in front of the plate. They're fine there. They give him the plate. Now the ball takes him over here.
No,
Yeah.
we don't have anything.
Defense is allowed to go through the base path to get the ball.
Absolutely.
I don't have anything.
See, when I look at a play like that, did this second runner alter their direction to the plate? I say they do not. So therefore, to me, the catcher did not impede their path to the plate. Therefore, I got nothing. We on the same page? Okay. Next one. These are pretty easy because the answer comes from the national office. We'll get into some here in a couple minutes. I pulled up some other videos, but okay, right field.
Oh, she dropped it.
Ball's coming in. Let's call the play first, then we'll talk about umpire mechanics. First base, oh, yeah. Okay, firing the ball to second base. Okay, did the fielder impede the progress with a runner without possession of the ball? Didn't look to me like I believe that's the shortstop covering the base. Had possession.
Yes, in our judgment, the fielder did not have possession of the ball.
Yeah, if you watch it close, you can see the ball gets there after the collision right there.
Yeah. Okay, now look at our base umpire. Let's go back and show that again. Now forget about obstruction interference. Look at the position of our base umpire. They never, all right. First base umpire goes out. The other umpire, what?
He's on the outside, yeah,
Oh, wait a minute. That's at third base, folks. That plays at third base,
right,
but they still should have been inside. The
right.
guy.
Yes.
Okay. Next.
They'd want to be looking over their shoulder because they'd be in the throwing lane possibly.
That's where you drop down even a little bit closer. That's a tough call when the ball's coming from right field. But the idea is the time that third base umpire, that had to be a triple, didn't it?
Yes.
Let's go back to that if you can.
Let me see here. I think I can go back. Previous.
It must have been a runner on first if he was rotated.
Well,
Yeah, they tell us it's a triple. And they're not rotated because there was no runner on second base.
now, this to me is a triple. And
Yes.
the person started across the diamond from third, didn't get to second. And is coming back to third.
Yeah, they should have never been on the outside period. They should have been in the inside
Right,
Correct.
as soon as you went
very fast.
out, they should have been coming across to take the play at second.
Right. And since we reverted to a 2-umpire system, that person's got to take them all the way to third.
Right,
So that's why they have to get down and inside. We're not NCAA mechanics. Our mechanics are get inside 2-umpire system.
well, if he
Thanks,
got in
Matt.
position for his original call at second base, he wouldn't have been outside.
Well, no, he should have been inside.
Right,
And then he could have seen as the runners, I mean, he didn't even have to get that far onto the field to guess that, hey, it's going to be a triple. Now he's got to drop back down and get into a position where he's not in the throwing lane that you mentioned earlier to us.
Yeah,
Okay,
there was no good reason for him to be that far out of position.
yeah. Next,
Okay,
catch by the shortstop. Ball's popped up here. Had a runner at second. Ball's popped up. Now you gotta decide, did the runner interfere with the fielder making a play in the fair batted ball? Check this out again. How many of you seen this before? Did you see this at a state clinic? Because quite frankly, I was conducting sessions and I didn't see what Ross and Dave did. And
She does have to, the fielder does have to like pause a little bit, wait for the runner to go, and then she goes forward.
yeah,
But the runner didn't slow down to interfere either.
Right.
Looks like everything was very fluid there. I mean, sure, the fielder's eye was on the ball. She's, you know, easily
This is-
passed by.
Catch it.
This
Here we
is a
go.
maybe.
check out their answer here.
Maybe.
Maybe. It depends on how you look at it. When you first looked at it, Matt, it looked like there was a slight hesitation by the shortstop, maybe
Mhm.
because by the runner. This is a situation, quite frankly, to me, you can get, some people may say that that was enough because they're fortunate. She caught the ball, stumbled and hit the ground. What if she doesn't make that catch? You're gonna have a real good argument for the fact that, hey, wait a minute, that person obstructed. Excuse me, that person interfered, excuse me.
Mhm.
But what they're saying here, and the umpires in this case judged that the runner did not hinder, impede, or confuse. If I'm watching that ball game, I think I can make an argument both ways. So it's not rocket science. You get paid the big bucks to make a decision. Make the call, stick with it.
Yeah, because there's not a specific right of way in that situation, is there? I mean, the runner's not doing anything purposely. They're just running as hard as they can to get to third.
Well,
And the
I'd have
fielder's
to
just
say-
trying to make a play on the ball.
I understand, but I
So-
guess I would have to say, when in doubt, we've got to let the defensive player make the call, make the play. So I think if it were me on in that situation, I would err on the side of giving the defensive player the right of way on a batted ball. Because like, all
And
right, she
she
makes
does
the catch,
change
but let's say
direction
it's a-
there.
let's say it's a little bit tougher and she doesn't make that catch. We're gonna have a batter at first base and a runner at third, and somebody's coming out to talk to you. And national office is literally saying, you could probably go either way depending on your judgment.
It's one of those you had to be there.
Well, we're all there right now with the luxury of
Yeah, but
instant
not in real
replay.
time.
Yeah, in our dreams.
I
That's,
don't dream about that stuff.
I think we've all had some that we'd like to have replayed, but we don't get that option.
She definitely interferes. It's just she still catches the ball. So, and it's so slight, but you're right, Gary, if that ball lands 2 feet further in front, she's going to have a really hard time making
Absolutely.
that catch in that situation.
And the rule says impede.
Yep.
And I'm gonna, when in doubt, in my opinion, when in doubt, I'm probably gonna lean toward, hey, the defensive player has the right of way to make the call, make the play, excuse me. This one here is probably pretty easy.
I think Stevie Wonder could probably call this one.
Let me go ahead and field this one, guys. I got this
Okay.
one. This one's pretty tough.
Okay. I think this one, when you go back to the verbiage, the last verbiage that I quoted you, if the defensive player on the thrown ball makes contact with the offensive player coming up right now, prior to possession, where's the ball? It's not even there yet. There's the ball.
Barely in the infield.
Yeah. So that one's pretty easy. Now let's look at the umpire. Let's look at the umpire. Right now, we need to see the left arm coming out.
Nothing yet. Nothing.
Yeah, you never see it.
She's
So
trying
that-
to find home plate, trying to find it. Oh, there it is.
He doesn't have no idea that the ball is back by the screen, right?
Doesn't appear to be.
No, he's looking to see if the catcher still got the ball.
Yeah. Do you remember the old show me the ball drill?
Nope.
He looking at the plate,
Yeah,
see if she touch it.
yeah. It looks
Yeah,
to
he
me like
pointed
he-
at it.
looked to me like he was starting to point, which you never want to do. You point when they touch the base. What do you do when they miss it? If you don't point, you're telling people.
Good with that one?
That's the same play. Yep.
Okay.
I may have sent you two in a row, so I may have screwed that one up.
No, that's fine. I was on, it was playing again, so I'm just gonna go to the next one here.
Okay.
This is a bad throw at first base. Oof. She got clotheslined, I think.
Yeah, the ball's not in the glove there.
Oh, oh,
Yeah. She got clotheslined right in the face.
Now the ball's at that last little bit, you saw the ball up in the air.
You're still gonna put her at first base.
Yes, I am. I don't see anything beyond that.
No,
oh, where's the ball go? How far away does the ball go on the overthrow?
Right now, let's see. Well, I think the ball goes to the right field foul area.
I mean,
Right there,
in my mind,
right there's the ball, and 2 seconds back, the ball was in the air, so it looks like it may be in the vicinity. If let that run at the very tail end of this, you're going to see the ball up in the air.
I might have went past it already.
I see where you're going, Joe. Let's say they fire that ball and she gets clotheslined and the ball ends up in right field at 200 feet away.
well, yeah, because she puts down a bunt, so the ball's coming from the catcher. That ball could be almost to the out by the time
Right.
it stops rolling.
You're right.
If
So
that's
your-
the case, then
Your thought may be second base.
I'm probably putting her at second base. Yeah,
Yeah.
the video doesn't really give enough of a field of view to actually tell exactly what the award would be at that point. But
I agree. We don't.
if it
know.
goes
See,
way
right
out
there,
in
right
right
there,
field,
excuse me, right there in the upper corner, you can see the ball,
yeah.
but you can bet
So-
there's not a right fielder there. Okay,
But an argument could be made to put her on two easily, depending on where that ball winds
I
up.
think there could be an argument. Again, it's tough. We don't know exactly where it is. It'd be nice.
And
if we had
after getting hit like that, she's not making any attempt to run to second, but
Yeah.
without getting clotheslined, she could have easily probably got to second if that ball goes to right field.
Well, there are times when you may not be given the opportunity to make an attempt
Yeah.
because you got dropped.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that Joe is actually bringing up. The award could be more than one base, depending on the severity of the obstruction. There are situations where you may be awarding two bases. Very rarely you would get to three, but it's conceivable, especially on an unfenced field.
Okay. Rundown obstruction or not. This is from
Okay.
Major League Baseball.
Yeah, after it's gonna continue. Okay. It's not a softball rundown, but what happened there? First
Yes,
baseman in the way?
yes.
Absolutely. That's when you should be sticking that left arm out. Major League Baseball doesn't do that. I'm not showing this to show you Major League Baseball. I'm showing you that you've got a first baseman that's in the way. We should be sticking the left arm out and verbalizing obstruction. You can stop, Matt. This is just them talking. There's 3 minutes of them talking. So, okay. Oh,
I
this
like
one.
this one. This might be my favorite.
This one. This isn't a World Series game. All right, watch. Play to the plate. Now watch. Did they obstruct?
Yes.
We don't have a signal. We don't have a signal from the base umpire. This is baseball. They don't signal, but they're going to show this a couple times. So let this one run. Because at first it might look like, hey, nothing happened there. But watch a little bit closer when they watch this replay. That's why you've got to be looking at it. The person who made this call was Jim Joyce. And we all know who Jim Joyce is. Took the no-hitter away from Andres Galarraga. Here, if we continue to watch, I think you'll agree that it's a very good call. And they go on to talk about the call. And they misspeak and they call it interference. If they keep this rolling, because you're going to see when the runner gets up to go to the plate, looks like he's just running over the third baseman who's down on the ground. But watch closely.
Yeah.
Oh, see those legs come up?
Legs go up. Yep.
Yep. It'll come back to that. So just let it run. They'll show it again.
So, Gary, if he'd have left his legs down flat and the runner had just kind of like jumped over him or ran over him, would he have been fine?
No, well, I would say no, because I'll go back to our definition. Did that person hinder without possession of the ball? Did he make contact with the runner without possession of the ball? I think they did. So I think that you're going to have obstruction here.
Because
Anyway,
my initial thought was the reason he called obstruction is because he lifted his legs up, which caused him to trip. But I'm thinking if he had just left his legs down,
yeah, but
well,
now
yeah,
watch here.
based on where he's at right here, I think you're
Right
right.
here. All right. Now you don't get up by putting your feet up in the air. You get up by putting your toes on the ground and pushing yourself up. So with the luxury of instant replay, I think we can agree that that person hindered that runner.
The home plate umpire pointed at third base like he saw the obstruction.
Yeah, when I first saw that test, I thought, well, he's pointing to the third base umpire who's making the call. Because if you listen to the dialogue, which I didn't want people to even have a part of,
Probably wasn't family friendly.
they're suggesting that Jim Joyce made the call. But in everything I saw, it doesn't show that he did. I thought at first the plate umpire was pointing to third base umpire. Third base umpire, oh, no, wait a minute.
He pointed, yeah, he pointed.
Pointing. He is pointing. So they may not have a mechanic for that. Jim Joyce did point there. But see, in our game, it would be a little bit more obvious than that. But the first time I saw it in real time, I'm thinking, well, not a whole lot happened there. To answer your question, Matt, but obviously the more you see, he stuck his feet up, then your question is a valid question. Would I have had obstruction? And by our rule, I would say, yes, you do. Because he made contact without possession of the ball.
Because the fielder is actually, he's not in the running lane. Well, I guess maybe the end of his legs were, but most of his body was outside the running lane. So you can see where the guy, he is way off in fair territory.
Yeah.
Trying to run home.
Yeah, but did the third baseman just look to see where the runner was and then put his legs up?
I'm sure that's what he did.
Yeah. All
My
I know
thing
is
was if he had just left his legs down on the ground, would they still have called obstruction?
In that situation, it would depend on whether, with his legs flat on the ground, did he still
Would he have
impede
made
or not?
contact?
If he still impeded the runner in any way, shape, or form, and not necessarily touched him, even if he'd caused the runner to take like a half a step around him or something like that, where he had to change direction at all, you're still going to get him for obstruction at that point.
I think the key in our game is that third baseman without possession of the ball, did they impede the runner? And
Yes,
I think we have to say yes. So I think in the
Absolutely.
softball game, I'm gonna, that to me is obstruction. That was a game-ending play, by the way.
Yeah.
Nice play. Okay. Next.
Let's see, this is just a link. I may have to, this was a Twitter link. I don't think it was gonna work.
Okay, then don't worry about it. Let me explain what this play was. We started with a runner at first base. And a ball hit down in the corner. They rounded second, going to third, and the runner had to literally push the shortstop out of the way. And then they rounded third. To make things worse, the third baseman standing in the baseline as he's trying to step on third base. And the bottom line was, yes, they called, and the person was thrown out at the plate, and they killed it.
All right, can you see this now?
Yep, now we can.
Okay, yeah, I just was able to bring it through, so
Okay,
there
good.
you go.
You're a genius.
can you make it, Matt, can you make it full screen?
There, how's that?
Perfect.
Yeah.
There we go.
Boom.
All right, they're rounding second. Whoa. See, there's no play. That guy shouldn't be there. And even right here, the third baseman's in the way. So they've got literally obstruction. in
That
two
third
different
baseman
places.
knew he would. That third baseman knew what he was doing. He was there for a reason.
Yeah,
He's trying to be sneaky and get away with it. So,
and the umpire knew what they were doing too.
yep.
Well, he's pretty emphatic.
I
It's
believe in that
good.
situation, you have to be emphatic to
Yeah.
make sure everybody
Well,
knows what the heck you're doing.
Baseball umpires have that tendency not to be real vocal
Subtle.
or real demonstrative. So on that play, looks to me like we've got obstruction 2 different times. Okay, next.
All right, let me see, I gotta take this back. All right, that was all for the obstruction videos.
Okay,
So, yeah, I did have the individual plays. Did you want to go through those? Or just want to go to interference?
no, at this point, plays, I think if we open it up for people got questions, we'll answer those plays and then we'll move on. I just figured, folks, you've listened to me the last couple of years talking about this stuff. I figured I'm gonna pull up some videos of various types of, oh, there was one that I didn't see. Oh, no. Having a brain cramp. That's in the next group. Any questions about obstructions you may have seen or questions that you got that we may have? A lot of people have stayed mute on this. You can go ahead and speak up if you'd like.
Yeah, just go ahead and unmute yourself. So, by the way, I am keeping track of everybody who's on the meeting tonight. I wrote everybody's name down, so I'll make sure that the people that need to know that get that information. I do see one person listed as owner in the participants. Could somebody just tell me who that is? Either
That's Alex, isn't it?
I don't
Alex,
know.
take
Yeah,
your
it's
glasses
Alex.
off so we can see you. See, that's the right person. We got him.
All right, good. Now I can give you credit. All right, so you want me to go right to interference? You want me to go through these?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go to interference. We don't need to stay any longer.
Okay,
If there aren't any questions, we'll move on. Because those questions are the same ones that I asked the previous year at Geyer Center
Hey, Gary,
or at Lansing meeting. Yes,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. There was an incident where I think I was working with Jason last year and, he there were times where like he didn't call time and the players started calling time. And he said something like after the games, he said something like, if that happens, you would stick your arm out and call verbal obstruction. Is that correct?
Yeah, the mechanics that we have, anytime that you as an umpire see obstruction, and it can be either umpire. There are times when you may have obstruction that the base umpire may be button hooking inside with his back because they've got two runners, a runner batter going to first, runner from first going to second, a runner from second going to third. They're button hooking inside. They may not see it. And the plate umpire who's got the entire thing in front of them, they see it. Our mechanic is the left arm extended because umpires don't walk around with their left arm extended. So people know that something has happened and then verbalize it for the closest people to hear what you've got. And then you drop that arm after a few seconds and let the play continue. And the reason we let it continue is because the defense has made some kind of a mistake, then we don't want to penalize the offense for it. If they're running the bases and they get an overthrow, they could get other runs scoring. That's why we don't kill it for obstruction. Let the play continue. And then we have our rules for when we stop the play and they can or cannot be called out. Two of the examples were, now, by reading what I did in the book, I haven't mentioned this in the past, and it was a good point. If you've got a runner who left second base too soon on a fly ball, and they're attempting to get back, and they're almost to third, and now they're obstructed by the third baseman going back to second, but you realize that person never had a chance of making it back, you're not going to have obstruction, you're going to have the out.
Okay, so that's why he said that. Okay, gotcha.
That's extremely, extremely rare. When in doubt, if it's close, we're going to call the obstruction. And in that particular case, since they were trying to get back to second, when that play is over, I'm not awarding them third, I'm awarding them second.
Okay.
Nothing in our rule says they get the next base. That's baseball. That's why you may not see it called as often because the penalty is severe. They get 90 feet. In our game, we get to put them where we think they would have gotten. I think it's a perfect rule.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet. Okay. I'll let you take that stuff. Any other questions, gang? We'll move on. This one take just a speck longer to read, folks. And then we'll do some videos on that also. What I'm reading to you, the obstruction was in the book, rule supplement, that's number 36. This is number 33. Directly from the rule supplement. If you've got questions, to me, the first place that you go is to that rule supplement when it comes to obstruction interference. And then if you go to the index, it's going to tell you it's in rule supplement, and then it'll give you the examples of where it is in the rule book under Rule 8. Okay, interference is the act of an offensive player or team member who impedes, hinders, or confuses a defensive player attempting to execute a play. Interference may be in the form of physical contact, verbal distraction, visual distraction, or any type of distraction that hinders a fielder in the execution of a play. Defensive players must be given the opportunity to field the ball anywhere on the playing field. And it should be there, it should say batted ball, or throw the ball without being hindered. Runner interference. Now, it's going to go several types of interference that are listed right there in front of you. Runner interference includes a runner or batter runner who interferes with a fielder executing a play, including a batter runner touching the white portion of the double base at first base and colliding with a fielder trying to catch a throw from a fielder. A, when a runner interferes with a fielder, the umpire must determine if the interference occurred before or after the runner who interfered was put out and apply the appropriate rule. When a runner is hit by a fair bladed ball, it is interference if it occurred before the ball passed an infielder, excluding the pitcher, provided the runner was not in contact with the base. It is interference if the batted ball deflects off one defensive player and the runner intentionally interferes with a defensive player who has the opportunity to make an out. Remember, that says intentionally on that deflected ball. A runner could be standing on a base and a defensive player bumps the runner while watching the flight of the ball. If the defensive player fails to make a catch on the ball that could have been caught, it is the umpire's judgment whether or not the interference should be called. The rule provides that a runner must vacate any space needed by a fielder to make a play on a batted ball unless the runner has contact with a legally occupied base when the hindrance occurs. In this case, the runner should not be called out unless the hindrance is intentional. If interference occurs by a runner on a foul ball not caught, in the umpire's judgment, could have been caught with ordinary effort, had interference not occurred, the runner is out and the batter is also out. If in the judgment of the umpires, the foul ball could not have been caught with ordinary effort, a strike is called, the ball is dead, the batter remains at bat. If on the third strike, the batter is out. Now, yes, in any case, that runner who interfered is out. If it was a catchable ball, we can have 2 outs. If it's a foul ball, it cannot be caught with ordinary effort. We've got the runner that was out and we put the batter back in the box with an additional strike on that. A runner or batter runner was hit by a fair touched or untouched batted ball or interfering with a thrown ball. Batter interference occurs when the batter is at bat and before the ball is batted. It occurs in fast pitch when the batter interferes with the catcher's throw on an attempted steal, or when the batter interferes with the catcher on a play at the plate. The batter's box is not a sanctuary for the batter when a play is being made at the plate. Interference could also occur when the batter releases the bat in a manner that hits the catcher and prevents them from making a play. If the batter merely drops the bat and the catcher trips over it, there is no interference. Batter interference is also discussed in Rule Supplement 24B. Offensive players in the dugout may be charged with interference if they interfere with the fielder's opportunity to make an out on a fly ball. On-deck batters may be charged with interference if they interfere with a throw, a possible tag of a runner, or a fielder's opportunity to make an out on a fly ball. Coach's interference occurs when a base coach runs toward home plate and draws the throw, or when they interfere with a fielder attempting to catch or throw a ball. The coach's box is not a sanctuary. Spectator interference occurs when the spectator enters the field of play and interferes with the play. Effect: the batter and runner should be placed in the bases they would have reached had the spectator interference not occurred. The field belongs to the fielder and the stands belong to the spectator. Now it says put the in effect, it says that you put the batter and runner on the bases they would have reached had there not been interference. If that's a fly ball and the spectators reaching over onto the field of play, we could have an out on that fly ball. If the ball's in the stands, they can rip the fielder's arm off. That's outside of the field of play. It doesn't say that in the book. Reaches into the field from the stands and prevents the fielder from catching a fly ball on the field of play. The ball is dead. A dead ball is ruled and the batter is out. All runners should be placed at the bases where they would have reached had the interference not occurred. It is not interference if the fielder reaches into the stands. I got ahead of myself. Sorry. Umpire interference occurs when an umpire is hit with a fair, untouched batted ball before it passes an infielder, excluding the pitcher. The batter runner is awarded first base. This is an exception to the statement that someone must be called out on interference. Fast and slow pitch with stealing. When an umpire interferes with a catcher's attempt to put out a runner stealing or an attempted pickoff from the catcher to any base, it is interference only if the runner is not put out. In this case, if they weren't put out, the base runners are returned to the base they occupied at the time of the pitch. Umpire interference may not be called in any other case when the batter runner on deck batter or coach interference occurs, the ball is dead, someone must be called out, and each other runner must return to the last base touch at the time of the interference. Offensive team interference occurs when a thrown ball strikes loose equipment in a live ball territory, but only when play is actually affected. Batter runner interference occurs when the batter runner steps back while running to first base to avoid a tag by a defensive player, or when running to first base runs outside the 3-foot lane over fair or foul territory and interferes where they throw to first base. That particular portion there, remember, just because a batter hits the ball, they start towards first base, think they're going to be out, and they start toward the dugout. That is not to avoid a tag. You're not called out there. When they look up and see that the ball wasn't caught, they can take off for first base. If the throw beats them to first base, we got an out. If it doesn't, we don't. The interference occurs if they back up to avoid a tag. Okay. On the mechanics, whenever you have interference, you have an immediate dead ball. The exception is on umpire interference. So you have an immediate dead ball. You get a chance to think. Somebody's going to be called out, and all base runners return to their last touch base at the time of the interference. There are times when you could have a double play. You could have interference. You could have interference on a ball that's going to be caught with reasonable effort. As an example, you have runners on first and second. Excuse me, let's load the bases. You've got the bases loaded in a pop-up. Nobody out. Pop-up on the infield. What do we have? We got an infield fly rule, right? Now the runner from second base runs into the shortstop, who is trying to catch the ball. What have you got? You got a dead ball. Somebody's out. Well, the batter's already out because we called the infield fly. Somebody's going to be out. Who interfered? The runner from second. In that particular case, you've got a double play. That doesn't happen very often. Let's talk about double play situations that mostly happen on a runner from first going into second. They interfere either before a fielder has fielded the ball or after they've been put out. Let's take two examples. Let's load the bases. We've got a ground ball to the shortstop, who steps on second base and relays the ball to first base, and it hits the runner who is doing one of many things. Comes in standing up, doesn't make any movement to get out of the way, takes away the opportunity for the person to throw. They barrel roll them. They've already been put out. So we've got the dead ball, and we've got to have somebody out. Well, the person who interfered has already been put out. In this case, we get the runner closest to home plate. We want the stiffest penalty we can get. So when that play is over, we're going to have the runner from first was out because they interfered, and we're going to have the runner close to the plate, which is the runner from third, also being called out. So when that play is over, we end up with 2 outs and the batter at first base. Let's take another situation that can happen. We've got the same thing happens. The second baseman is trying to field the ball. The runner from first runs them over before they contact the ball. Well, we've got an immediate dead ball. Somebody's out. Who's out? The runner from first who interfered. Now, if we think that was an attempt to break up a double play, and they still had a possibility of a double play, the ball's been killed. We call the runner from first out. But since this was before the runner was put out, when this play is, we're going to get the immediate succeeding runner, which happens to be the batter. So when this play is over, we're going to end up with a runner at third base. The runner from first going to second is out, and the batter is called out because they're a succeeding runner. Okay. Those are our interference rules, and those are the interference mechanics. Let's go ahead and there we go. We got a runner at second that runs into the shortstop. The third baseman doesn't touch the ball here. I'll tell you that right now. The third baseman does not touch the ball. I think we see 3 pitches, so bear with us. Looks like an MASA backstop. No, it isn't either. It says MASS, doesn't it? I think this is the one I should have warned you, Matt, to go to.
Oh, okay.
Second, that's all right. That's all right. Okay. Third baseman doesn't touch it. All right. Oh,
I'll replay it.
go
and
ahead.
I'll move
if you
ahead.
do it again, yeah, take it up about 20 seconds, I think, because we had 3 pitches that went.
Should be this
Now,
pitch here.
Is there a way that you can, after the ball is hit, kind of stop it and then move it up a bit at a time so that when the actual contact is made, we can see it?
I'll see if I can pause it.
Yeah. Might be difficult. May have to take a couple tries. Right there, stop. Okay.
There's the collision.
This one's pretty easy. Matt, that was a perfect stop. They missed, the third baseman missed it. All right, but we've got a shortstop who has the opportunity to make the play, and the runner from second is running them over. So at this point, now you'll see the umpire call them out, but let's talk about umpire mechanics here. What's the mechanic? We should be going up with a dead ball signal, point at that person, and then call them out. Go ahead and let her finish.
Okay.
Oh, he did put his hands up. My bad. There we go. That's good, Matt. Any questions on that one, gang? I had to point out first, this can be a little dicey in that if the third baseman touches the ball, it could change our ruling a little bit. If that ball is deflected significantly and the runner from second base intentionally runs into the person, we can have interference. But you're going to get play sometimes where that third baseman touches the ball veers, 5 feet to the right, takes a right turn and hits the runner going to second base. There, you just got a live ball. Let them pick it up and throw it. All right, go to the next one.
This was on Facebook, and this one I can't show you because I think you got to log in and everything. So
Oh,
I'll move on to this one.
yeah. This is looking at a batter in the box. Okay. Now, obviously, this is fast pitch. It can happen in slow pitch, but watch number one, in slow pitch, that runner wouldn't be getting to second base that quickly. But what happened here, we've got a pitch, the catcher gets the ball, and they go towards the right-hand batter's box. And the question is, did the batter interfere? All right, this is a ruling from USA Softball. No, although the batter's actions do not appear designed to hinder the catcher, because there was no play, they don't call interference.
Not sure why the catcher would go behind the batter anyway.
I don't either. They're not left-handed.
No,
I've got to play a little bit later that that's why we'll let these run. I've got a baseball play that is going to explain why just because the catcher makes the throw doesn't mean that we've got interference.
Well, I think Tess, I think she was gonna throw, but then she realized that she wasn't gonna get her anyways.
I don't
second
think so.
base.
I think she just throws the ball back to the pitcher.
Because I'm with you on it. Why would she go that way?
right.
I mean, she kind of stutter steps like she's gonna get ready to throw it. And then she
Yeah, and
realizes
then-
she's not gonna get her anyways, so then she just throws the ball back to the pitcher.
But
Yeah,
somebody
the-
needs to work with that catcher.
Yeah.
Yes.
The catcher took the ball on the throwing on the left-hand batter's box, the left-hand batter's box side of the plate, I don't see any reason why they went behind behind that batter. It put her in a bad position to throw. Okay. Next. Okay, here, if you can, go ahead and fast forward to oh, that's okay.
Oh, did I do that?
Now, if you can go up to 35 seconds, I don't see the counter on the bottom. Yeah, go ahead. You're gonna see a better view of this, folks. The spectator in center field right there obviously has reached over the fence and touched the ball, this right here. All right. Here's an example of a spectator reaching onto the field of play that interfered the ability to make a catch. Let it show this. Everything after this is Major League Baseball taking forever to make a ruling. They ended up reviewing this call and then coming back, the batter was eventually called out. But that person reached out onto the field of play, that belongs to the fielders. If they would have been reaching into the stands, we got nothing. You can go ahead and stop it the next 3 minutes, or they talk about it, and then they go to New York. Okay.
Oof.
Okay. Ball goes to the shortstop or third base. The ball's thrown to the person covering second base. What would you call on this? Or would you call anything? Just let it play.
Well, yeah, she hit the girl in the head with the ball trying to throw.
Yeah. So what would you call?
Dead
That's
ball.
gotta be interference.
I am gonna call dead ball. That's a person who's been put out. Clunk. They're in a place, in my opinion, they don't belong. At that point, I'm gonna have a double play and it's gonna be the runner closest to home. I don't know if there was somebody at third. I don't believe there was. But if you have to get all the way around to the batter base runner, that's gonna be that double play. I had one for Major League Baseball that was similar. Well, I won't talk about it in case we're able to download it. Shortstop. One out. At this point, that runner knows they're out. You're not taking one for the team. Okay. That's one that you can see. All right. Yeah, on this one, I said turn the audio on because it's
Oh.
horrendous what the person is saying. Forget that rule. That is nothing. That's baseball, obviously. I just wanted to show you the different types of interference we could have. This person's fielding the ball and the runner from first runs into him. That's pretty obvious.
Is this just pictures?
No, go ahead and let this one play. All right. At this point, you can see the ball, and he's made contact with the fielder even before the batted ball gets there. So we're all going to have a dead ball right away in that situation. This particular play, let's see if this is a different play. Okay, here comes a dicey situation. I'm not a high school official. I forget the terminology for it. Maybe if Jamie or another softball, high school softball person is there, they have such a thing as a step. In this particular case, I think it's pretty obvious that the base runner could have avoided that. Let the person field it. I mean, it was so close to them and they didn't. In the baseline, got it. Oh, it's right there. Oh, now we crash into them. If it's a game of softball, I got interference and a dead ball there. All right, go ahead to the, go a little bit farther with, yes, leave that on and show this.
Should be going. Yep.
Okay, don't worry about it, Matt. There comes a point when it's not worth messing with.
Trying to say, okay.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and move to the next one.
There we go. So he slides into the fielder instead of the base.
Uh-huh. Now, this is baseball, so it's 90 feet versus 60 feet. But you look at that and you can say, wait a minute, they took away the opportunity for the person to throw the ball, possibly. Because it's 90 feet, they've got the opportunity, but they may not have that at 65 feet or 70 feet or 60 feet. All right, go ahead to the next video. Okay, we got a running lane here. Okay, you make the call. What have you got? Everybody's making up their mind. What have you got? Any volunteers?
May we see it again?
Yeah, here it comes.
I got nothing.
I got no interference on that.
Yeah, I
This
don't
may
have
be-
anything.
This may be a better view. Right there, see where it hit her? Almost in the elbow.
But she's still in the running lane.
Yeah.
She's in the running
Yeah,
lane, but where's her arm?
Doesn't matter. It's her feet.
That's in high school.
Okay.
That's why I don't like the high school rule. I like our rule. That line is a plane of glass. If that ball hits her in the right shoulder, that's an errant throw. But since it hits her in the left shoulder or left arm, which is in fair territory,
Well, if it's right above her left leg, it could be right on the line. I think we're splitting hairs.
well,
Y-
would you
yeah, I
give me
agree
the
with
fact-
Todd.
would you give me the fact that that person's left elbow is further inside than their left leg?
But she doesn't have her arm stuck out. Her elbow's close to her body. From what I can see.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
her
if
in the
you look-
shoulder.
I think if you're looking down the line, the left arm is in. Go ahead and let it finish. This one is, we had this, folks. Everybody should have seen this in May of 2018. We got the answer from national office.
Yes, this is interference.
And a body part outside the running lane, therefore in fair territory. This is why I love our rule versus the high school. How do I know where their last foot was when they're running to first base? I think it's
You're
much
watching,
harder to do
plate
that.
umpires watching the feet.
See, in our game, I think this is relatively easy in that the body part was inside the baseline.
I'd be more inclined to call interference if she lifted her arm up. But she's just running.
All
I
right,
mean, most of the girls don't even know that there is a running lane. She's
Okay.
actually in it.
I don't care what they know.
I
If
understand.
if that camera angle was looking directly down the line, I think it's pretty obvious that the left arm is in fair territory, in my opinion. I'm just gonna tell you what the mechanic is or what how we define it in USA softball. It's like there is a plane there. That's why I say if it hits her in the right shoulder, I got nothing. If it hits her in a body part that's in fair territory, I've got a violation. Next. Ground ball, steps on third, throw to second, throw to first. They didn't get the runner at first. Let it run. They're gonna show what the runner going into second base. Hard to see on a small screen. They're gonna show you here on a replay where the runner who's sliding into second base. Watch her left arm. All right,
Right arm.
right arm, excuse me. And they literally grab the right leg or grabbing at the right leg. So they've got interference by the runner who's been put out, therefore the runner closest to home. That person made the call right away. Go ahead and go to the next one. Now we got something happening at first base. Was there obstruction?
Yes, but didn't she catch the ball?
I'll be honest with you, I never looked to see if the ball was caught.
Second base caught the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pop-up.
Okay. What I'm looking at here is, I'm gonna start with my left arm out because there's obstruction. And then I'm probably gonna have an ejection on the batter around her first base.
She had no business rounding the base when it's a five
Yeah.
on the infield.
And she just
Yeah.
absolutely, and she drilled her.
Yep.
Okay,
She's gonna sit the rest of the game
yeah,
and maybe the next one.
okay. Go ahead to the next one. Okay.
This is really quick. This is only 4 seconds.
This is real quick, folks, so go ahead and play it again. It's a batted ball on the third base line that the third baseman is starting toward the line to get, and the runner's getting out of the way, and they kiss it just inside the line.
So is a judgment as to whether she could have actually made a play?
Yeah, on this one, I think if it's me, I say I got nothing.
Yeah. Not sure why the runner was going into the field.
Well, they're getting away from the batted ball because it ends up in foul territory.
Okay. It's hard to see the ball.
It's very hard to see it. All right, go to the next one. But you got, it's one of those things where you gotta, when that was 4 seconds, you gotta make that decision in just a second there on something that you saw at third base.
Yep.
That was it.
Okay,
Garrett.
I don't know though.
Ball game.
That ball's in the air right there. I mean,
it
that's
hit the ground
such a quick
first.
view, but what's
Hit-
that?
Hit the ground first, I believe. The
Yeah,
ball
it,
was-
hit, it on the last view, it looked like it hit the ground like after the contact was made. So it's still quick, but I mean, again, it just comes down to judgment. If we felt that that ball was a catchable ball, then we've got interference and we're calling that
There you go. That's what
runner
you
on third
get.
out.
That's why you get the big bucks.
The runner was off the base though, too, towards home plate. So the runner had already let off. I mean, did she have to go into fair territory there to avoid it? Could she go
I-
back to the bag or could she come home?
Well,
I
if the
mean-
ball's headed into foul territory, you're gonna get out of the way.
Right,
Yeah,
right. But if it's
I-
a fly ball, if it's a fly ball, she should be going back to the bag in case it's caught. Right?
Line drive.
Yeah, I think the first thing they're doing, Scott, is getting out of the way. That happens so fast. And again, if that's what you thought, let's face it. When it comes to obstruction and interference, I think we probably all have watched a game where we saw something happen and there was a collision or something happened and you thought interference and they call obstruction, or the other way around. I was watching a ball game with three people. Two of them happened to be myself, a former state UIC, former national umpire member, and I forget who the fourth person was, and we were split 2 and 2 on what happened. You don't get a second chance. There's no replays like what we're looking at here. So it's your judgment, and put it into judgment. You know, when they come out to argue with you, they're going to tell you what they saw. Let them tell you what they saw while they're, and while they're doing that, you got plenty of time to think about it. Let them talk themselves out, and then you explain to them what you saw and why you've got either obstruction or interference. But make sure this judgment, don't start quoting a lot of rules. In my judgment, coach, this is what I saw. You told me what you saw. This is what I saw. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the key is the intent wasn't intentional. That's the key.
Well, it doesn't have to be intentional. I think the play that showed that is the runner that was on the double play ball. We had a runner at first base, ball hit the shortstop, throws the second baseman covering the bag. When they turned him through to first base, they hit the runner from first, standing up, coming into the base, and it went off her helmet into left field. Was that intentional? I don't know. It could have been stupidity. So we try to take the word intentional out of most cases. I used it earlier on a play when if a ball is deflected and a runner from second to third intentionally interferes, kicks the ball or whatever, now we've got a violation for interference. That's where it specifically mentions intentional, but it doesn't have to be intentional to have interference. Let's talk about an example of that, where a batted ball hits we got a runner at first base. There's a batted ball by a left-hander. The runner from first steps off the bag and they're hitting the leg with a batted ball. Well, nobody intentionally wants to get hit by a batted ball where they can get hurt. So it's not intentional, but they did interfere. That's just one example. I've probably more examples of it not being intentional than there are for being intentional.
Yeah, I think most of the time when I make those calls, it's usually not intentional. Very rarely, I think, do I ever get an intentional obstruction or interference, because in either case, Alex, it does not have to be intentional.
Okay.
So,
I just wanted to clarify.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. The only one that's got to be intentional is on that deflected ball.
It's very possible that you have a runner from second base intentionally stop in front of a fielder. You know how they can stutter step? If that stutter step is obviously in front of the person attempting to make field a play, you could have interference. I'd say heavy on the could. Sometimes when the ball is hit hard enough, all they're trying to do is stop. But that's your call, your judgment.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few instances where there could be like a pop-up or a ground ball and a runner will scream, or verbally say something, whatever the case is. It's just a verbal distraction. So Alex, you just got to make sure you don't allow them to do that either, because verbal distraction is included in interference calls as well. So,
but I would be very careful with that. If just because somebody says something doesn't make it, but if it's, I've had situations where you've got somebody that's about 6'8" going down the line and they're screaming and it scared the bejesus out of the shortstop. That's pretty obvious, okay?
Right, right.
Just because they yell boot or something like that.
Well, right, and this what I'm talking about is intentionally right, right when they're near the fielder or something, they're intentionally doing that to try to distract them from making a play.
Okay, and that's strictly your judgment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anybody else? I realize you listened to me reading, and you could have done the reading. I didn't know how many people had a book in front of them. But too many years in the past, I've done it. And I think it's the more video that we can get on different plays, the better off we are. So if someplace down the road, I picked these off Facebook or YouTube or whatever. If you get something unusual, pass it on to Joe so he can use it someplace down the road. He'll have it and it can benefit everybody. So
Okay. Just so everybody's aware, this is recorded tonight. I'm gonna get this over to Troy. He'll get it posted to the USA Softball of Michigan website. You'll also, which is also a YouTube channel. So if you do subscribe to the YouTube channel, you'll see it there. Last week's meeting has already been posted. So if anybody missed that one, you can go and view that one now. Like I said, I have everybody's names. I'll get those names over to Joe, so he's got them. But other than that, I think it was a very good meeting. Thanks a lot, Gary.
yep, thank you, folks.
Hey, Matt, before we
Yes.
go, stop the recording, please.
I will do that.